Well, currently I'm working for a program Durability. It's a broad program that looks mainly at energy transition, but also on adaptation, because that's actually in our roots. Our history in the Netherlands is fighting the ocean. That's our biggest enemies. And as a city, we always try to cope with water coming towards them from the ocean, building dikes. But recently with climate change, it comes from above. We as a government don't have the money to build a large infrastructure, the large dikes, because if it's happening in people's streets, you try to include the people and try to mobilize them to also work around what we now created already, and that is a harder city, a city that's full of stones, that's transitioned from nature actually into a scope what is more, the urban environment, and trying to reintegrate the nature into the urban environment to cope with the climate change. And that's actually our roots. That's how we started with the adaptation strategy, former water plants and stuff, but it's actually the first transition towards a more integrated approach to cope social challenges with our adaptation challenges. Recently, it's more involved into a broader sense that also the energy transition. We knew we need to do more with clean energy, so we started the wind program, we started the solar program, we started to use targets. Subsidies. If you have the money, a lot of things goes easier, and that's kind of the dynamics to empower people, and especially within the framework of durability. Lynn Mays, a scientist from Utrecht University, wrote a paper about it. It always has positive external effects. If you do something for durability, it's not really seen as an investment rather than something to benefit society. So it's always looked at the government, you want to be durable, give us the money to do that. You do see a new change now, you do see a new way with people starting to talk about the green economy, about, you see it now in the States, where they have a president who say go back to fossil, but states and a lot of markets say no, we don't want that because we see a future in durability. Like even our harbour, like 10 years ago, they started, that's really special, they started the RCE, Rotterdam Climate Initiative, with partners from the harbour because they saw that the world is changing. 70% of the Rotterdam harbour is fossil based. You know, here, this is where the gas pipe comes into Europe. And they see, to have a new future, we need to change ourselves. So we had the Green Roof program, and that also transitions from that adaptation identity into a broader identity that includes social. Like, why don't we have parks on our roofs if we cannot create parks in our streets? Use our roofs for solar energy, but also use our roof maybe for the next transitions like drones. Where are they gonna land? So keep looking and integrating challenges on the same services. A lot of lobbying, and inform them, really also inform them, because mostly people want, but they don't know what. They don't know what they can do and if it's reliable. So if we can inform them with the right data, they say, hey, this is interesting. What I can do it with my whole community, because we already have a lot of city blocks that have their own VVE, we called it, Society of Homeowners. They were like, hey, what if we reuse our roof? Let's say, hey, we need to redo our roof next year. But I hear from the city council that if you do it with a green roof, it lasts twice as long. Our homes are cooler in the summer. We store water. So we're trying to mobilize our citizens, but still there's a price tag on it we cannot pay. Let's do it together. And doing it together, mostly people still look at the government to say, wait, aren't you the one that should solve this problem? So it's not just transition to a new energy, to a new way of adapting to water. It's also more a societal challenge, a societal transition where we as a government take a step back in order to have a lot of other parties standing next to each other and doing it together. We produce gas. We're a gas country. We have a harbour that's 70% based on fossil fuel. We have an economy that's still very much its hands in the old economy. But we're also a country that has one of the finest technical universities, that has Eindhoven, that's now run on electric, the public system runs on electric buses. We have a Philips, also a Shell that's leader in power and trying to transform itself. I always say we have a lot of the cards on the table here, especially here in Rotterdam. We have Delft around the corner. We have the harbour with a lot of economic power and a lot of willingness to change. We have a city that a lot of people don't have a job, so they're waiting for that new economy, that green economy to provide. That's the formula, like what do we link up, when do we implement what, and who do we need for that. And that's still something we're now searching for.